Our living room with this fabulous cover. And would you hand me one of those books? Thank you. I can disguise my cards with the book, right?
That's great. We're ready to go whenever you are.
All right. Hey, guys. It's Janene with Fresh Fiction TV. Thanks for joining us today. And our special guest is Vicki Pettersson. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Janene.
We're thrilled to have you here. Now, we're here at Barnes & Noble in Lincoln Park, and this is a great place. This is where Fresh Fiction has some of our book clubs, and you have been kind enough to be our guest this evening, and we cannot say thanks enough.
No, I have to thank you because it's kind of your home away from home, but it's becoming my home away from home as well because I live here in Dallas part-time.
Good.
And I love this bookstore, so it's actually a real honor to be here.
We're so glad you could come, and we are looking forward to the new book.
The Lost.
This is such a sexy cover.
I know.
Oh my God, I love it.
I mean, I don't know if it's arrogant for me to say I know, but I know.
No, well, I mean, I want this dress.
Mm-hmm.
Did I see a picture of somebody on your website that was wearing this dress at the book release party?
Yes, she made it from scratch. As soon as she saw the cover, she got to work. She went to the LA Garment District and found it, the material just hiding in the back, and she had actually done the dress for the first book, The Taken, as well. So I have to step it up, man. I have to keep her happy. So the third book needs to bring it.
Have another fabulous dress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we also have this fabulous guy in the fedora?
Yes, please.
Yes, please, and straight away.
Yes, and please.
Yes, we do love
I
a man in a fedora.
Oh, well, and actually that's, to be a little bit serious, that's kind of what drew me to this story. I love the old PI, kind of Sam Spade, gumshoe sort of crime fiction and mysteries. And,
yes.
And there's not a whole lot of that around these days, so I wanted to kind of bring it forward into the modern day, and I finally figured out a way to do that with this series.
And it's this series. This is book 2 in the Celestial Blues trilogy.
Yep.
And the first one, I was so excited to read this. Barnes & Noble called The Taken, which is book 1 in the trilogy, a stunningly stylish storyline.
They did.
I love that.
The online reviewer loved it, he's very picky, but he's also extremely well read. So it was an honor for him to like it so much. And then he also just named it one of the top 20 books of the decade, or 20 series of the decade in fantasy fiction. So I hit there at number 11.
That's wonderful. Now, this is your second fantasy fiction series. How did you get started in that genre?
Well, it really picked me. I don't really like to be told what to do, and I had been writing historical fiction, and it was killing me because you keep getting pinged on little things like being anachronistic, which was annoying. So after I put that aside, I decided I'm going to write something where nobody can tell me what to do. And I did. I mean, fantasy, who can tell you that your own imagination is wrong? I mean, other than my husband, but I don't listen.
Well, no, we won't tell him. Y'all don't tell him. So, and the one of the descriptions of The Lost that I read, it said it's a combination of rockabilly and gumshoe.
Well, that's exactly it, and that could also very well describe my protagonists. Griffin Shaw is a fallen angel, but before that, he's a murdered PI from the 50s. And so I brought him forward. His job now is to take charge of the newly murdered souls and escort them into the into the hereafter. And he teams up with a modern-day rockabilly reporter to try and solve his own murder. So it's kind of a cold case. It's 50 years old, but they do their best.
That sounds like a great mashup.
Well, I mean, that's how I got him, this really, kind of a madman sort of feel, and, like I said, the classic gumshoe into the modern era. And so they make a fantastic team. They solve a particular crime, a modern-day crime in each installment, but the overarching question is who killed Griffin Shaw. Yeah.
Solving his crime.
Yeah.
And I love the names of the characters. They're Griffin and Catherine, but they're called Griff and Kit.
Griff and Kit, yeah. And so Griffin Shaw, they're loosely based on Katharine Hepburn and
Spencer Tracy.
And so Spencer Tracy, I have to tell you this story. It was so weird. I got chills. I'd created my characters, I'd created my world, and I was going back and watching all of their movies, and I got to Katharine Hepburn and Tracy's first movie together, which was Woman of the Year. Mm-hmm. And his last name was Shaw. He was a sports reporter. His last name was Shaw. And I was like,
didn't remember that.
And so, of course,
that's great.
Yeah, it was amazing. I got chills again now. So I thought it's meant to be. And, of course, Kit is named after Katharine. I spell it differently, but it's homage.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I'm so excited about this book and this trilogy. You mentioned that Griff is a fallen angel, and your angelology is not exactly what you and I were taught growing up in the church, right? So that's one of the great things about fantasy, like you said earlier. You get to create the world. So tell us how you came about the world of the angels for this series.
Oh, well, I mean, there were so many layers to it, and it's hard to remember how it evolved. Yeah. But I ended up with something that I thought might be digestible to anybody of any faith, of any religion, just somebody who might believe in a higher power, no matter what they grew up with. And I think we can all agree that, it's a fascinating question to pose, that is there something after? And when you answer, in fantasy at least, the question, with a yes, then you get to play, forever.
Yes, you get to make it up as you go along. Let's talk about, for just a minute, one of the interviews with you that I loved so much. You talked about your idea of being an author and how instead of attention, what you wanted with your readers was a connection. Tell me how you see the difference.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get in trouble with other authors by saying...
No.
Yes. I think some people think it's all about them. You've written a book, there's one of you, there's many readers, and you're blessed to be in that position. However, it's never about the author. It's always about the connection. And if I'm putting something out there and it's touched somebody on the page, it's because they brought themselves to the work as much as I did. They met me halfway. And I see that with my readers. I mean, you've allowed me into your mind, which is a very personal space, and but you've brought your own experience with it. So if we can connect, that is, I mean, isn't that what life is all about?
It is.
It's certainly why I write. That's why I write, is the connection.
I love that idea. I had never really thought about that before. And after I read that interview on your website, I really started thinking about, that's what we all want.
Yes.
We want a connection. And we want it in real life, and we want it in books.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons I believe that we read books.
I think that's
to
why.
Have a connection.
Yeah, I think that's why romance is so strong, and especially with women, is because we crave that connection in all areas.
Now, is there a little romance that happens in the Celestial Blues trilogy?
There is, but the happy ending is hard fought. So I think it is a subplot. All of my work tends to have the romance as a subplot, because I think romance is a part of life, so it must have a place in the books, but it's not everything.
Right.
So I think it's pretty well balanced, and I really, with the banter between Kit and Griff, it's so much fun.
That sounds like the perfect balance.
I love it.
With all of that, and I love the mystery, the thriller, from the 50s, the fantasy, all of that combined into one book. That takes an amazing author.
It's a mashup, isn't it? It's just fun. I'm very much a magpie. I see something shiny and I throw it in there and see what happens. And sometimes I have to pull back and,
Sure.
But thank you. I think it works.
I want to change directions just for a minute, and I want to talk about the dream that you have for when you're a little old lady. Long time from now, there's some group of women with whom you would like to belong. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm not getting any younger, and just in case this whole writing gig doesn't work out.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
I don't know. You never know. Never say never. So So in my previous work, I was a Las Vegas showgirl, and however, I'm too old for that now, and will be too old for that in the future. However, there's a Palm Springs Follies. I was in the Folly Bergère in Las Vegas, and there's a Palm Springs Follies, and you have to be 55 and older in order to get in that. So I'm still working out. I'm just in case I can get in those fishnets. And
So you do the fishnets, and do they also do the great
Yeah,
huge headpieces?
They do. You have to be quite
That's
talented.
serious.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I'm keeping my stretch, and I wrote him a letter and said, "Save my pasties." I'm going to be there. I'll
I
be there
love
with
it.
my walker.
And
but I'm gonna be there.
you'll please send us an invitation to the debut, because we will be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell us what you read. What do you read when you have a moment?
I read a massive amount of crime fiction. Believe it or not, maybe you would believe it. I love. My next up is a Harlan Coben. I'm reading a new author right now, and she's so new that I forget her name. But the book is While You Were Sleeping, and so she loses her memory every single day. Every single morning she wakes up and not knowing who she is. So it's pretty, and it's really well done. So it's pretty fascinating. So. I love something with a good mystery. If you can catch me by surprise, if you can give me a little twist, there is no bigger delight than that. But of course, if you were to name any genre, I could, ping off a few fantastic writers in each. I read voraciously in everything.
And that's one of the things that makes a quality author is the depth of reading. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree, and I don't think you can disdain any genre or lift any other above that, because if it's finding an audience, it's touching people, and you need to know why that is.
Yes, agreed. So what's next for you?
Well, obviously the third installment in this trilogy, that is The Given, and so that's going to be out next year, and that will bring this trilogy to conclusion.
And you'll come back next year when the new one's out.
If you will have
Yes,
me.
we would love it.
I would love that too. And then after that, I've written a straight paranormal, no paranormal, straight thriller, psychological thriller, but honestly, I don't know what to say about that, because I wrote it on spec and I haven't sold it yet.
Wow.
I know, it's so new, and I believe it's gonna find a home.
Good.
Home.
Well, we'll be sending good thoughts
Thank you.
that way. Thank you so much, Vicki, for being with us, and we will look forward to the next book, and then the next, and the next, and the next, until we see you in Palm Springs.
That's right. I'll be there.
Thanks, y'all, for being with us on Fresh Fiction TV. We'll see you next time.